Hey there guys, this is Reckles with WTBGold, and we haven't done like a legit go out here and farm this gold guide in a while, so I'm excited to do one. Let's get into it. Today we're going to be talking about recipes. Now, all the recipes we're going to be talking about today are blacksmithing recipes, so if you have a blacksmith, make sure to learn the first copy of these that you get. You'll be able to craft stuff that sells for just a ton of gold. You'll be able to make more gold in the long run. But if you don't have blacksmithing, that's fine. These are all BOE recipes, and they're all farmed using somewhat different means. Try all of these out. If any of them interest you particularly, then you can just go ahead on the Undermine journal, sort the plans by price, and then see if any of those tickle your fancy. Okay, the first plans we're talking about today are the Arcanite Reaper plans. These drop off a rare elite spawn in lower Blackrock Spire named Bannok Grimaxe, who is the reigning champion of the most World of Warcraft name ever, 15 years running. The farm is super simple. Go to Blackrock Cavern. There's inside Blackrock Cavern, you take a right, there's a little ledge, you fly in the ledge, and lower Blackrock Spire is in the middle of the room on the right. Now, before you go in, I would recommend you make a targeting macro, and not just a /target Bannok, but I would also include a reset instance macro in there, and this makes this farm incredibly easy. Okay, stay with me. Stay with me. We're going to walk in the instance. We're going to hit our macro. If we don't target anything, we're going to walk out the instance, and we're going to hit our macro again. And it'll reset the instance, and then we go back in. And that's it. That's the farm. Now, if he does spawn, if he is up, he is a rare elite, then getting to him is really, really simple. You take your first left, and then you just follow the right-hand wall. You have to jump down a ledge or two. He spawns in one of 3 locations. There's a little circular rug on the ground. And now, if you're doing this on Classic, then you may need some invisibility potions. Bring some of those along. But if you're doing this on Live, you can just run through and kill whatever. Once you've killed him, I just dream walk out, because Dreamwalk and Zen Meditation both allow you to exit a dungeon, and then when you recast it, you enter the dungeon back in outside, so you can reset and continue your farm. If you aren't on a druid or a monk, I guess just jump into the lava, like take off your gear and jump into the lava. I don't know. But I went out here and timed myself, and I was able to get through the entire run in 5 minutes, 42 seconds. He spawned twice for me. So if you can beat that time, I challenge everyone watching. If you can go out there and farm this 10 times and beat 5 minutes, 42 seconds, put your time down in the comments, and we'll have a little race. But I didn't just time myself. I've also been multi-boxing recently, not just to give away the Brutosaur month to you guys, but I'm also excited to be multi-boxing because it means I get to give you guys more accurate data. With my 8-man team, I was able to farm this instance 519 times. In those 519 times, he spawned 88 times. That's about 1 in 6. He'll be up on average about 2 times every lockout. And I got 10 patterns. So let's just say 1 out of 50. Which means with a 5-minute run and a 1 in 50 chance, it's going to take you a combined 25 minutes in order to farm this. Now, if you don't have it and you have a blacksmith, I'd recommend you just park a druid outside and just every hour that passes, like, go run it again. I personally go farm the Rebellious Imp from Mother Rossula, and then I go hit up the Lanticore, and then I spend my remaining 9 runs on this. And final thoughts on the Arcanite Champion. Yes, this works on both Classic and Retail, but if you're doing this on Classic, be geared and bring some invisibility potions. But for you experienced gold makers, what I want you to take away from this video is that lockouts are a resource. You know, we've done videos on how speed is a resource, density is a resource, but I also want you to think about your lockouts being a resource, and like you only have 10 lockouts an hour. How do you use those the most efficient way possible? You know, if your goal is maximizing gold per hour and being the richest person on your server, then you probably want to do transmog farming. But if your goal is to make gold in the least amount of time dedicated possible, then you probably want to look at something like this. All right, the next recipe we're going to talk about is the sulfuron hammer. This one's neat. It's a lot quicker to talk about. So important things to note: this is once per character. It's not farmable, and it requires the sulfuron ingot. So essentially, go to your auction house and buy a sulfuron ingot. If there aren't any up, you can go run Molten Core and try to get one. It only drops off Golemag, and it's a pretty rare drop rate. I think it's like 1 in 20 now. It got nerfed. But you take that sulfuron ingot over to, Lokhtos Darkbargainer, and if you have a sulfuron ingot in your bags, he'll have a little dialogue option down at the bottom of him. Now, if you don't know how to get to Lokhtos Darkbargainer, then I'll include a video down in the description. It's pretty easy once you get the hang of the dungeon, but it is a really confusing, sprawling dungeon. So follow along with that video carefully. But that's actually it. You take a sulfuron ingot, you take it to Lokhtos Darkbargainer, you click on the dialogue option, and he gives you a pattern when you complete the quest. You don't have to have blacksmithing to do this. It's once per character, and the pattern's sellable. So get out and do this. This is free gold. It's 100,000 gold pattern. On some of your servers, this is 100,000 gold pattern. Yeah, it'll take a little while to sell, and for some of you, it'll only sell for like 5 or 10K. But who cares? Free gold eventually is still free gold. Post it up. Okay, for our third pattern, we're going out for something that probably transmog farmers would enjoy. Something where you got to put in a little bit more work. So this is Karazhan, and we are farming the Felsteel longblade. And the Felsteel longblade is a super low drop rate item. It's like 1 in 10,000, and is... Oh, wait, hold on. I'm not a fire cat. There we go. It's 1 in 10,000, and because it's so low drop rate, it sells for, like, it's posted for between 100,000 and 1,000,000 gold. Like the cheapest is 150,000 up right now. So as you can see, we went through the stables, we killed everyone in the stables, and now we're getting all the guards. Make sure you don't tag midnight, because that'll start a boss fight. If you start any of the boss fights, then the trash won't respawn for the rest of the week. Let's see, once we get into the kitchen, or the scullery, we kill all these guys, and then we get everyone who is just trying to enjoy a nice meal. So these guys right here are the first. Like, you can drag everyone into one big loot and kill pile if you want, but I would recommend killing these as you go, because they cast a goblin rocket gun. Here, let me pull all these guys together and see if we can show off the goblin rocket gun. Is anyone... There we go. So those guys will stop and cast the goblin rocket gun like every 5 feet. It's really annoying. But this is the end of the first 2-minute lap, and if you don't have a druid or a monk, then you just end the lap right here. You know, you go down these stairs and you head to the left. But if you have a druid or a monk, then you have Dreamwalk and Zen meditation, and you can reset a dungeon by just, you know, essentially a hearthing and then a hearthing back. So I'll show you how I do this on a druid or a monk. You can get a little more kills per hour with this. So you just go on into the opera hall and grab all these guys. And while I could probably just swipe them down, I don't know. I like getting a big kill pile, hiding behind a column, and having everyone group up. I don't know. It just feels good. Feels good. So, that is the end of my run, and because I'm a druid, I can just dreamwalk, and because I killed all the guys earlier who have the goblin guns, I'm not in combat, so I can dreamwalk. There's a reason behind everything, and that's it. It's 250 kills in every 3-minute lap, and that means you're going to have an average of 50 laps before you get the pattern, expected value. Is it worth it? Right now on my server, it's about 500,000 gold for the patterns. In 50 laps with 3 minutes per lap, that's 150 minutes before we get the pattern, 150 minutes for 500k. So, is 2.5 hours worth it if you get one thing that eventually will sell for 500k? Well, for some of you, it's totally going to be worth it. That's 200,000 gold an hour. Like, absolutely, make it happen. But some of you don't like transmog. You don't like things that take a little while to sell, even if they're big ticket items. So it's not going to be worthwhile to you. The whole point of the channel is to give y'all enough different ways of making gold that you find something you enjoy. And those are the farms. We've got a super fast, repeatable, rare elite farm. We've got a one-time only per character farm. And then we've got a super low drop rate pattern from Karazhan. If I left out any recipes that you think are super duper important, then let me know down in the comments. But otherwise, if you like the guide, hit like, that really helps me out. If you really like the guide, then hit subscribe and you'll get notified of future videos. And if you super like the guide and you want to support me, I've got a link to Patreon here. Have a great day, everybody. Good luck and happy gold making. Now, if you don't know how to get Lokhtos Darkbargainer, oh my god.